threescore and 6 days.
So now that all equals up to 80 days.
Yes, sir.
So now if it is a female, then she is unclean for 80 days. And if it is a male, then she is unclean for 40 days. So that is why we ask the sisters that they don't come into the sanctuary during the time after they have given birth to a child. We still believe that these laws ought to be followed, because I cannot find in the Bible where they were done away with. Start reading now. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 15, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. Leviticus 15 and verse 1. Just showing you some of the things that make a person unclean. The Lord made exceptions as far as, a woman coming into the sanctuary, and the exceptions that he made was for the high days. And that was the only exception that he made. But other than that, they are to be followed. Let's start reading at Leviticus 15, and we'll start at verse 1. 15 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying,
Go ahead.
Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue, he is unclean.
Now this running issue here, and I did a little research and found out this is some type of abnormal discharge of liquid matter from the body, something like pus, which is the body's way of removing germs, and also some like sexually transmitted diseases too. Because the Lord had these cleanliness laws, and it didn't have nothing to do with nothing ceremoniously being unclean. You were literally unclean.
Yes,
you understand what I'm saying? So now, the Lord, he said, now if he have this running issue, like this don't mean like if you cut yourself. This means if all of a sudden a sore or something just pop up on you, and then pus start coming out of it, that's a running issue.
So.
You understand? Cutting yourself, that's another thing. But if you all of a sudden you just a sore just pop up on you, that lets you know something's wrong there. So now he said that is a running issue, and then he said, he is unclean. Go ahead and read.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue. Whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness. Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean.
Now every bed that he lie on, and everything that he sat on, it shall be unclean. Go ahead and read.
And whosoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Now, the person that touched anything that he sat on or lie on, they are only unclean until the evening. However, the person that has the issue, they are unclean as long as they have this issue. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 6. And he that sitteth on anything whereon he sat that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead and read.
And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Now this even means at the going down of the sun. That is what evening means. Go ahead and read on.
And if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead.
And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth anything that it was under him shall be unclean until the even.
Go ahead.
And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
The Lord had this stuff in here, and he had it. The reason he had it was to avoid spreading disease and germs and plagues and all of that. That is why he had this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're going to read some stuff a little bit later, going to let you know that, when you have certain uncleanness, that it can literally spread disease and germs. This wasn't about no ceremoniously being unclean, like some people try to say. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 11.
Go ahead and read.
And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and have not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Notice he said, now this uncleanness, you can remove it by washing with water. You understand what I'm saying? So this ain't got nothing to do with being ceremoniously unclean. Because you are unclean too if you commit adultery, but I guarantee you can wash all you want to, and you ain't going to wash that away.
That's right, brother.
The only way you're going to get rid of that is that you repent and God show his mercy. You understand what I'm saying? But this have to do with the washing of the water and all of that. Go ahead and read on.
And the vessel of earth that he touches which hath the issue shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water.
Now you can clean a vessel of wood by washing it in water, but a vessel of earth, which means a clay vessel, because it is porous, then you cannot clean it by washing it in water. Then you have to just break it. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 13.
Go ahead.
And when he that hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean.
Now you know you had sometimes, you know, when the animal sacrifice law was still good, you know, you had to offer up an animal as well. But he just told you here, you know, wash his clothes, wash his flesh, and then he'll be clean, right? So now, you know, while the animal sacrifice law was good, you had to offer up certain sacrifices as well. But once Jesus came and died, you didn't have to offer up the animals anymore, but you are still unclean. If you got a running issue, you are still unclean today.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? Even though you ain't got to kill no animals or nothing, you are still unclean. Let's go now. Let's skip down now to verse 16 and continue reading.
And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even.
Now this is when a man lie with a woman. Go ahead and read on.
And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead.
The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead.
And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days.
Now that is dealing with the seed of copulation of a man. Now we are dealing with a woman's monthly, I'll call it. If she have an issue, go ahead and read on.
Middle of 19.
Go ahead and read.
And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean.
Now she's unclean for 7 days, but if anybody touch her, they are only unclean until the even.
Yes, sir.
So you know that apparently there are different degrees of uncleanness. And the woman herself, she's unclean for 7 days, and if anybody touched her during that time, they are only unclean until the even. Go ahead and read on.
Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
Now everything that she sat on, it will be unclean. Go ahead and read on.
And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even.
Now, you know, that's just letting you know that, you know, during the time of a woman's monthly, that, you know, your husband ain't supposed to have nothing to do with you during that time. You know, a man is not supposed to lie with his wife during the time of her uncleanliness. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 22.
Go ahead and read.
And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead and read.
And if it be on her bed, or on anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean.
Now, if he lie with her during that time, he's not just unclean. If he touch her, he unclean till the evening. But if he lie with her during that time, then he is unclean for 7 days. Go ahead and read on.
And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation.
Now, her separation is 7 days. She unclean 7 days. I don't care if she's not bleeding, but 2 days, she's unclean for 7 days. You understand what I'm saying? That is regular. Irregular if she goes beyond 7 days. Go ahead. Now he's dealing with irregular here. Go ahead and read on.
Or if it run beyond the time of her separation.
Now the time of her separation is 7 days. If it goes beyond that, go ahead and read on.
All the days of her issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation.
Then all the days of her issue shall be as the days of her separation. All of that time, however long it runs, she will be unclean. It will be as the days of her separation. Read on.
She shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation.
Go ahead.
And whatsoever she sitteth upon, she shall be unclean, as the uncleanness of her separation.
Go ahead.
And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even.
Go ahead and read.
But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean.